Social psychologist and Professor Robert Rosenthal has gathered experimental evidence from over 400 studies to prove that something he calls the Pygmalion effect can significantly influence the behavior of others around us.
And I found that things were beginning to happen that could only be explained by the fact that I knew how each of the subjects of my research should be behaving. And so I did a little bit of reading and found that there had been research that compared the results that different experimenters got, but there had been no direct experiments showing that an experimenter's expectation could actually become the cause of a subject's response.
To test the notion that our expectations can have a direct influence upon results, Dr. Rosenthal designed an ingenious experiment. Dr. Rosenthal told teachers in a typical elementary school that a special test had identified students as intellectual bloomers who on their own would show remarkable gains in their abilities in the coming months. Of course, the children had actually been chosen at random. The only difference between these students and their classmates was in the mind of the teacher.
And what we found was that the teacher's expectations did come to serve as self-fulfilling prophecies. When the teachers had been led to expect better performance from their pupils, they got better performance from their pupils, probably because they treated them as better performing pupils and then brought about the behavior that they had been led to expect.
Well, I think, social and behavioral scientists have always been interested in culture and societal differences, but I think it's relatively recently that psychologists became really interested in culture, in part because I think lots of people believed that they can study culture or society quite separate from psychology and vice versa. So you can separate psychological part, set it aside and study society, or set society aside and study psychology. And to the extent that that's the case, no problem, you can divide the job. But in more recent years, it became very clear, maybe as a result of globalization, big jumbo jet flying back and forth and all that, and immigration, that people began to suspect that some psychological processes may be shaped by society or culture. And then culture become a very important topic in psychology because ways in which you think or you feel or you define yourself may be quite dependent on your cultural background.